Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing that we need to do is obviously open up Revit. Now I'm using Revit version 2021, but if you're using a different version, that's okay. These steps are still going to be very much the same. So the first thing that I want to do to start a new model is I want to go and select the proper template to use. So to do that, I'm going to go up here to Models, and under Models, I'm going to click on New. And this is going to open up a template selection box for me. And it's important to use the proper template for the type of project you're doing because Revit can do so many different things. We can do residential buildings, we can do skyscrapers, we can do civil drawings, we can do pretty much anything in Revit. So using the correct template to start is going to make our workflow and our overall project life a lot easier. So I'm going to click on the drop down here and see if I can't find the residential template, which I do not see one that alludes to residential. So I'm going to click on Browse, and I'm going to look for residential default just towards the bottom and hit Open and then OK. Now what this is doing is it's loading in all of the elements and features, and it's kind of going to put it right in front of me to make creating a residential building that much easier. Now I want to take a second to pause here and acknowledge that there is a lot going on your screen right now. We have tabs, ribbons, panels, drop-down menus, all kinds of stuff going on here. I don't want to spend a lot of time going through each and every function. Rather, I prefer to learn by using the functions as we start building our model. But there are a few pieces of the software that I want to make you familiar with before we start going, and that's kind of the workflow of how Revit works. Meaning, up on the top here where it says Architecture, these are all of our tabs. So we have an Architecture tab, we have a Structural tab, we have a Steel tab, we have a Precast tab, and every time I open or select one of these tabs, you'll notice that the elements below it change. Okay, these elements here, or this piece of the software here is called the ribbon. All right, now within this ribbon, we have palettes. So in the ribbon, you'll see that here we kind of have like a little, kind of like a grayed out area, and it says Build. There's my Build palette. To the right of that, I have another grayed subtle area, which is Circulation. That's my Circulation palette. So under each tab, we have a unique ribbon, and within each ribbon, we have unique palettes. Okay, and those palettes allow us to do specific functions. Okay, so we have a tab, ribbon, and palettes. Now to the left here on my screen, we also have a properties window. Okay, now the properties window will change as you go through your different commands or your different tasks within Revit. What I mean by that is right now I'm not in any specific command. I'm not telling Revit to do anything, so it's just giving me the overall properties of the project itself. But let's say that I want to start creating a wall. If I click on the Wall command, my properties have changed from a general properties of the project to specific to walls. Okay, we'll go over this in detail a little later. But if I hit the Escape key and go back, it gets me back into the general's property. So you're going to be using the properties window quite a bit to help you navigate and finalize your design. Now below my properties window is my project browser window. Now this is going to allow us to change between looking at our first floor, our second floor, elevations, 3D views, and all the different views of our model. Okay, so the nice thing about the project browser is it's kind of set up like a typical operating system hierarchy of folders. So say I have all these all the floor plans. It shows me all of the floor plans that were loaded as part of my residential template. But let's say that I'm not working on floor plans right now and I don't want to keep on seeing all this. I can select on the minus box here and kind of bring that folder down, or I could click on the plus mark and expand it. Okay, so you'll be using that quite a bit, but most of your time is going to be spent in the tabs, ribbons, and palettes, and the properties area. Now, I understand that some folks don't like to have their windows nested to the side of their program, meaning sometimes they like to have windows either on other screens if they have multiple screens in their computer, or they just like to kind of customize where they put their drop downs and whatnot just to help the workflow. So if you are one of those people, that's not a problem. We can fix that. So let's say I want to take my properties box and I want to move it just kind of floating in the middle of my screen. To do that, I'm just going to left click and hold on my properties box on the top tab and let it go, and it brings my properties window over there. So if I want to nest it to the right hand side, if I click hold and drag it to the right side of my screen, I can nest it on the right. But personally, I like having everything kind of stock default the way it is. So I'm going to bring it over to the left and let it nest there. Okay, so again, just wanted to cover some quick, easy aspects of how the layout of Revit kind of operates, so that way we can start with our modeling process.